Hey peeps, welcome to the It's Witchcraft Spiritus Decklist. This is the final video in the It's Witchcraft Decklist series, and today we are breaking down the element of spirit. It's the culmination of the four elements. And it is also more. It is an infinite space. Through the union of the four, we open up to divinity. And we experience that in our path and journey. We experience it both within and without, as above, so below. And so there's a real sense of union, of expression, and of connection and balance when we work with the element of spirit, the fifth element that is the sum of all of the parts of the pentagram. Of the wheel, and it's a powerful energy to dance with, to flow with, to explore, and to express. So I'm very excited to do this video today, and I have a unique list of decks here for this video, and my criteria for this was really that these be decks that felt balancing, harmonious, opening, loving, freeing, and empowering. And I have quite a large collection of decks, so it was difficult to whittle things down, but I feel like I have a solid turnout, and that I do have some decks that will work with any price point, and also some that you probably have in your collection if you have been on your path working with tarot and oracle decks for some time. So I want to start with Kim Cran's Alchemy deck. And I should say that oftentimes the color associated here would be purple or white. And a lot of people I know love to use amethyst when we're talking about spirit as an element. So I love to work with gold or silver as a representation of the element of spirit in my path. And so you might wish to bring some of that in for yourself. And you know, if you're looking to embody and explore spirit, then I encourage you to sit with dialoguing with deity and allowing yourself within that communion and communication space to feel this energy of bliss, of balance, of divinity moving into you, and also as a part of you. So this, again, as above, so below, rising and meeting, this union, this joining that creates balance. It's pretty magical. So we're going to start with Kim Cran's Alchemy Oracle. This is a really special deck, and I know I need to do a full review of it on the channel. It's very different. However, much like Kim Cran's Archetypes Oracle, this deck really does speak to, well, alchemy, which of course involves all five elements, but it also speaks to this sense of union, distillation, transmutation, and transformation. And so it's a great deck to turn to when you're wanting to synthesize something, when you want to understand something, when you want to see the big picture to something, and when you want to feel connected to spirit on your path. It's also, you know, with its primary colors and black and white tones, it very much lends itself well to this idea of union. And it's a very, very powerful and beautiful deck. And again, I like to use it a lot to understand the kind of big picture aspects of my path, my story, and also how to experience grace, compassion, and releasing when that needs to happen as well, because spirit can be a powerful element to connect with that energy for. So this is Kim Cran's Alchemy Oracle. It's also wonderful at the beginning of a reading to grace the big picture of the offering or the reading itself, and to give you an idea of, at like a mythological and archetypal level, what's coming through to support the journey. So next on the list is the Spirit Cards deck by John Mosley, I believe that's his name. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name. This is a newer deck for me, but I feel like it's very indicative of walking a path that unites all the elements and that expresses the experience of union with the divine, that to me is representative of the element of spirit. And you have kind of within this deck almost like all that you need from an oracle deck to be able to connect with those deeper and also etheric aspects of your practice. You know, that which can't be proven but is felt. That which must be experienced to be understood. I think this deck really, really lends itself well to that. And I think because it does have elemental cards, spirit animal cards, path cards, it's kind of a heavy hitter to give you a well-rounded approach to your craft and practice. And this is a great deck to be able to pull those elemental cards out and use them to represent the wheel for yourself, either in a ritual working, the wheel or the circle, for yourself, whether in a ritual working, for a sabbat or an espit, or even just to have those spirit, those elemental representations out on your altar or sacred space. This is a really beautiful deck to do that, and I'm excited to get to know this one more because I think that there's a lot of depth here to this deck, and I think it's willing to go however far you would like to go. So I'm very, very excited to work with this one. And I really do think that it comprises the union of the elements into spirit very, very beautifully. These next two decks on my list are investment decks. And I do have some lower price decks on the list as well. But these two decks, when I think of the element of spirit, I think of ecstasy, but not like the ecstasy of addiction, not the drug, but you know, when we experience ecstasy and then like 7 of Cups, we kind of take it a little too far, and so then we almost like overindulge in the experience. I see the realm of spirit as very much being able to hold a space of ecstasy that is potent yet peaceful. And both of these decks give me that experience. So this first one is Carol Hertzer's Spirit Speaks deck. It's the glitter version. Both of these decks were gifted to me by a very, very special and very, very dear friend. They are investment decks, but these honestly are representative of spirit for me. And so I want them on this list because they are valuable decks. They're very, very special. So this is, again, the glitter edition of Spirit Speaks by Carol Hertzer. And this one especially, much like soul cards, some really cool shit happens when you meditate with these cards. This is the Oracle deck, not the Tarot deck. And it doesn't do justice looking at this on camera. You have to see this in person to get the full experience of the glitter. Because I never would have thought I needed glitter in a deck, and yet this deck, and I have another that was gifted to me that's a glitter deck. I am so smitten with these decks. But these images, the difference between soul cards and Spirit Speaks to me is soul cards is very earth. Spirit Speaks is very etheric and other realm. And so I feel like when I meditate with these images, I'm going to a different place atmospherically, energetically, and it does feel very, very etheric. And so for me, it is representative of the element of spirit from the witch's viewpoint, from the witch's perspective. I'll show you one more image from this deck because it's just so again, these types of oracle decks, you know, it's not like ask a question, get a yes or no experience. These are meant to be sat with, to be meditated with, to allow the imagery, I'm going to show you a few more because they're so beautiful, to just take you to a place. It's a transcendence. It's a transcendence. So this deck is so very special to me. I'm deeply honored to have this edition, and it really is representative of spirit for me. So the other Deck on this list by Carol Hertzer is the Illuminated Tarot. Never thought I would love a fluorescent colored deck, but oh my God, I have been reading with this deck nonstop personally. Obsessed with this deck. And for me, it takes the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery to the element of spirit from the Witch's Path, for the Witch's Path, excuse me. Something about the bright imagery just allows me to have a perspective shift on the traditional meanings, and it allows for an expansion that I really do equate with the element of earth. It's so profoundly beautiful. It excites me. I feel, again, expansive, excited, present. There's an elusiveness and an alluring quality to this deck in this way. I don't know. I just, it's really, really special. So this is Carol Hertzer's Illuminated Tarot. I believe I said the wrong name last time. There's one image I would really love to show. I'll show you the Temperance card. The Eight of Wands especially, like it's so, I don't know, it doesn't translate on camera. So I do need to say you have to see these in person. And then something like really, really special happens. Here it is, the sun. This is my favorite depiction of the sun card from traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. It's so beautiful. It's so freaking beautiful. And so to me, this is representative of that spirit element. It's that sense of union, of communion, of embracing, of sacred dance, of opening up, of expansion, and a really deep sense of connectedness with other realms, with divine essence, whatever you would like to call that personally on your path. So this one is really, really special. Very, very beautiful. As I said, they are investment decks, but they're very, very unique. Okay, next on the list, this is going to crack some of you up. So if you are an OG follower of the channel, you know, over the years, I've talked about the Magick Tarot, the magical Magick Tarot. It is currently out of print. I had to find this on eBay used. So I did not donate this one. Somehow it got lost in a move. But this is another traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very silly. It has a great sense of humor. And that's why it's representative of the element of spirit for me, because it takes the drudgery out of the human daily grind and it brings some levity and light to your experience so that you can kind of laugh a little bit. And then from that space, you're in a lighter frame of mind to approach your card work, which allows you to ask different questions and then going forward to make either different choices or to perhaps be able to take things not as personally, with the understanding and awareness of the soul journey and soul contracts that each and every one of us have and contain within us. And to me, that's very much about a connectedness to spirit. And so this deck is on my spirit element video in the Decklist series for that reason alone. I know this deck doesn't resonate with everyone, excuse me, but I have a very, 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 very special place in my heart for the Magick Magical Tarot. Next on the list, I'm going to show these two together because to me, they really do encompass the essence of the element of spirit. Now, I don't believe that I've included these in either, any of the previous deck list videos in this series. Let me get that out. I apologize, guys. We've been in the middle of a huge heat wave here, and I have been dealing with migraines because of it. So just getting the words to come out of my mouth correctly are a little bit difficult today. So this is the Illuminated Earth Oracle and the Faceted Garden Oracle. Both of these decks are very indicative of the spirit realm for me and the element of spirit. We're in the etheric, we're in the ephemeral, excuse me. But we're also dialoguing and having conversation with the other elements within the witch's wheel, within the witch's work, within the witch's journey. This is the Faceted Garden Oracle, by the way, guys. I love turning to this deck for meditative purposes as well as divinatory purposes. And there's just something very, very unique and beautiful and special about this deck. This one of the two is my absolute favorite, but I think both have purpose within a collection, and especially when wanting to connect to various elements within one's practice. These two decks, much like spirit cards, you could use this one oracle deck and be able to connect with all 5 of the elements in the Witch's Pentacle. So, you know, if you are looking at, well, I don't want to, you know, necessarily work with all of these decks, but I do want to have this experience within a deck in my collection, either of these 2 options might be the sweet spot for you. So this is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. Both of these decks are by Claire Mack. Let me double check myself. Yes, Claire Mack. So this one's a little bit grittier in its colors, but still I feel this sense of spirit element here, Spiritus. And this sense of union, of bringing things together, so that in that uniting, everything becomes greater than they are individually, right? There's just a really beautiful sense of symmetry, of balance, of presence, and of joy. I feel often with these 2 decks, this just beautiful sense of joy. So this is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. Okay, you guys would laugh if you could see my setup here. I have like decks all over the place. So the next 2 decks on my list, excuse me, I should say 4. The next 4 decks on my list, these I would say are ones that you can use really practically, but that also do really hold this elevation aspect, okay? So I'm going to show these 2 together, and this is Colette Baron Reid's Spirit Animal Oracle and the Terra Oracle. Of the 2, personally, I prefer the Terra Oracle, but I did want to show another deck that has some color in it, in case you are not drawn to black and white pen etchings and drawings. For me, animal magic is very much indicative of the element of spirit. It's an essential part of my own practice as a witch, and I really do feel that when we work with spirit animal magic, something just mysterious and deeply connected to the divine, to spirit itself, happens. And so I did want to make sure to include some spirit animal decks in this list. There are so many options out there that if neither of these resonate, you know, and you do some research on your own, I'm sure you will find a spirit animal deck that you feel like resonates aesthetically with how you experience the element of spirit. But to me, nature herself communicates with us through animals, through the animals we see and don't see. And they give us powerful messages, a deep sense of guidance, and most importantly, when we're working with the element of spirit, a sense of connection. Whether we look at that energy as spirit itself, as goddess or god, as the divine, as Sophia, that's totally up to you. But for me, spirit animal magic is essential. And I love and adore the Terra Oracle. I was going to say, many of you know my love affair with vultures. And this deck does have turkey vulture and vulture energy, of course, as well. So the spirit animal energy also lends itself very well to meditation, to pause, to thoughtfulness, to reflection, to slowing down and taking into account our surroundings, which allows for presence. And from that place of presence, we are clearer, we are stronger, we're also more compassionate. We have deeper access to grace. And so for me, spirit animal energy is essential when it comes to working with the element of spirit in my witchcraft practice. Okay, next on the list, you guys are going to laugh about this one, is the Lightworkers Oracle, the 1111 Fierce Love Edition. One of my very, very dear friends and sisters in tarot talked me into buying this deck, and she was not wrong. This updated edition, not the original, packs a fucking powerful punch. It's very intense, and to me really gives messages that come from the divine, from the element of spirit, from our divine essence towards ourselves. The guidebook is lengthy and intense, but if you work with this in more of a daily draw, meditative, reflective situation, some really magical awarenesses, profound understandings, and deep healing is accessed. And I think that's an aspect of the spirit element that I haven't really mentioned yet that's very important. The healing aspect of the element of spirit, of this union of the four into something that is greater than the sum of its parts. So I don't use this deck as as an oracle deck from a reading standpoint. I use it as a daily draw and a meditative deck. And I will show you look at that one. This has been to date my favorite image in this deck. I just sit and I can journey and meditate with this image. It's so profound, and the message included in the guidebook for this one is so very special as well. So I really do think if you're looking to experience this sense of spirit and of connecting with ascended masters and light beings as part of that, you will enjoy working with this deck. Even if you have some religious trauma, as I do, I've really found that I've gotten a lot out of that deck. The next deck on the list is the Mary L. Tarot. I don't think any other deck is like the Mary L. Tarot. There's nothing like it, and there's nothing like the freaking guidebook to this one. It's such a special deck, and to me, again, it is so representative of that element of spirit. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. It's so eye-opening. It's so expansive, and it takes you to other realms so easily, so beautifully. It asks you to show up. It requires you to show up. And if you show up, it unlocks worlds for you. And so this is why this deck is number 3 on my spirit deck list. The symbolism, the imagery, the whole 9 yards. I mean, this deck has it all. The Mary L. Tarot by Marie White. There's nothing like it. It's core spirit element for me as a reader and as a witch. All right, number 2 on the list, the Nameless One. Another deck that a very, very dear sister in tarot and dear friend said, Racine, you got to get this one. This is an investment deck. You want to make the investment and purchase the special edition with the hardcover guidebook. This is a deck that is just, you want to talk about the element of spirit, you want to understand the element of spirit, work with the Nameless One by Zia Hunt. It's profound. It's profound. And what's really beautiful about it is that it's profound in how it doesn't need to be in your face. It's not confronting. It's more welcoming and enveloping. And it does ask you to sit and be present and to meditate with it. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful deck that is inspiring, encouraging, and you feel such a sense of union with not only the element of spirit, but with the beings and guides that are a part of this deck that have shown up for Zia to channel. And it is just, there's so many layers to this deck. And that's why the guidebook is a really nice one to have, because Zia shows you every little piece that's rife with symbolism and meaning and various associations that, especially for witches, plant magic, animal magic, bone magic, blood magic, it's color magic. It's all in here. It's like a primer for witches as well, I feel personally, although I don't know if Zia would agree with that, but that's how I feel about it. And so it's one that I know it's an investment deck. I understand it's not, you know, not everyone can make that investment, but it is so valuable. It's so valuable, and it's so indicative of the element of spirit for me. Now, of course, you knew my #1 deck for the spirit element, and I don't believe I put this in the other elements, but if I have, it also applies to the spirit element, is Tarot of Vampires. This is my original copy. I have trimmed it and edged it with a red Sharpie, so if you purchase this deck new, it's not going to look like mine. And that's why I just always like to give a little a caveat to this in case people purchased it and then they message me and are like, what my deck doesn't look like yours. First of all, this deck is fucking special. The guidebook is, I think, essential reading for any serious tarot reader. And Ian does bring all of the elements, with the 5th element of spirit uniting, depicted in the purple rose that you see reflected throughout the deck. That is representative of the element of spirit. It's deep, it's powerful, it's a study deck. You need to show up at the table, and it takes you to different worlds. If you let it, it takes you to different worlds. And it also is a great teaching tool to understand the elements. See here, we have all color associations for the elements, assisting you to understand like the gradation within that magical tradition. I love this deck so much. This is my home deck. It's my baby. It's my husband deck. It's everything. This deck is really, really, really fucking special. And if you're on the fence about the artwork, I love the aesthetic. I understand the aesthetic's not for everyone. The guidebook is off the chain. It's going to help you understand the structure of tarot. It takes many different traditions. It unites them together. Ian explains clearly why, and it helps you to be able to acquaint yourself with the structure of tarot. Now, looking at this as a witchcraft deck, it's a powerful deck for spellcraft. It's a powerful deck for visualization, and it's a powerful deck to connect with deity, the elements, and in this case, the element of spirit. This deck is going to elevate you. It's going to help you ascend and descend. It's going to help you find presence, balance, fresh perspectives, and awarenesses. It's a powerful, powerful, magical deck. It is like my own skin and blood and bones at this point. And it was essential to have this as the #1 deck in the spirit, aka Spiritus video in the It's Witchcraft Elemental Decklist series. So for those of you who have been along on this journey, thank you so much for sharing this space with me. It's been so much fun, so inspiring, so creatively fulfilling to put these lists together, and to have all 5 of them live in a space now where they're easily accessible for community just means the world to me. So I hope you found this list helpful. I am sending you, as always, much love and many blessings. And you know, I will of course see you in the next video. Take care.